So what I have on the screen, please pay attention. I am going to walk you through what these data are, then ask you to work in teams. We will use the same data for other tutorials also. So please save your work and put your names as part of the file name, because I will also want you to submit your work so that I see what you are doing. All right. So for example, WhatsApp groups can say WhatsApp group 1, WhatsApp group 2, WhatsApp group 3. Those who are in the room here, please maybe put your first names in that. All right. So now who is a team of 3? So you need to have 2 teams. Why don't you move to the row in front? Thank you. No, both of you move to the row, one row forward. Yes. Oh, sambhal ke dekhe. You can come even one more row if you want, or 3 more rows, first row. It's up to you. I didn't want more people in one row. I still don't see Ashwini's hand up, and Ishfaq and Verma. I thought you said you have the file, Verma.
Yes, sir, I have. Thank you.
So haath uthana, please.
Oh, sorry. Okay, sir.
Yeah. Ashwini and Ishfaq. I don't know if Ishfaq is online because he wasn't responding. Thank you, Ashwini. All right. Oh, who is it? There's RS kaun hai? All right, let's get going. Are you ready in the class? I still see you moving around. Jaldi, jaldi. So what we have here in front of us, and you should have it on your respective computers, is a small excerpt. Remember I said there are about 40,000 crash reports for the state of Nevada every year. That file is very big. So I just had my student help me, Sushma help me come up with 300 records. I'll walk you through some of the key fields. After that I will pose some questions and have you work on the question, come back, we'll discuss what you found and move on and on. I'm not going to tell you how to do the analysis. For those of you in the room, I will walk around to try to address questions. For those of you who are on WhatsApp, if you have a question, please speak up and I will try to answer it over the online. Okay. So please follow me on the screen now, not on your computers, because I want you to understand the structure of the database. So you will see that we have from column A all the way to column BX. If I had it to BZ, it would have been 26 times 3, 78 fields. So we have about 75 fields, 76 fields. Some of these may be repetitive. The first column is a crash number. So for every crash that occurs, when the police officer starts entering the data related to the report, I remember I told you it is all electronic now. For the most part it is all electronic. So the number will come up automatically. What is the crash report number? So that's the first field, and I will just go to the end to show you that there are 301 rows. So which means there are 300 records. The first row is the title. So that's crash number. Street 1 and street 1 other name and street 1 located are different ways of identifying one of the streets that is close to or on where the crash occurred. So many cases you are seeing other between street 1 other and street 1 located. Street 1 located is likely to be the most complete field. Okay. So for the most part you do not need information in column B or column C unless you find some discrepancy missing in column C, and for my convenience I have just hid column B and C. Same way, street 2, we have 3 fields in column E, F and G. So you will see street 2 here, it says other, S Tenaya. So in the US we use the abbreviation S for south, N for north, E for east, W for west. So you may see it sometimes that way. Sometimes the street may be spelled out as south. So you need to make sure that you understand S Tenaya may be the same as South Tenaya. So it depends on how the police officer is coding it. So these are some of the challenges. So here I am going to go with the third of these, street 2 located, and you can see that all there's couple of records where it is not populated, but for the most part it is. And if there is no street 2, it means that it is not relevant. You may have a crash on a highway which is very far away from any of the cross streets. So that is where the street 2 may not be relevant. So do not let that bother you if you do not have information on street 2, but make sure, oops, I went the wrong way. So I am going to hide for my convenience these 2 columns, but I have what I need for street 1 and street 2 in these 2 columns. Then comes a field called milepost. A milepost is going to be usually relevant on highways. You call it national highways, we call it interstate highways or state highways. That is where every mile there is a marker, there is a sign which says milepost 11, milepost 12, milepost 13, and on interstate highways depends on which state you are. Sometimes you may have marker 11.1, 11.2, 11.3 in 1/10 of a mile. Some other states it may be 11.2, 11.4, 11.6 in 2/10 of a mile. So that is what it is. So if you look at it, I am just going to pull down. So you can see there are a whole bunch of values what the mileposts are, but there are many fields where that is not there. In this particular case, let me highlight it. This says SR 147E and milepost is 10. So you may want to make a note of this. SR means state route. SR is state route. So you can see we have SR 147, 341, 612, and many times you will have the state route and they may have a common name such as Flamingo Road or Main Street, so on and so forth. So the same road may have a local colloquial name which is, let us say, Asansol Highway, whereas it may be State Highway 43. So for official records it may be State Highway 43, but people know it as Asansol Highway. And CC here, what I have highlighted is Clark County. Clark, C-L-A-R-K, county, C-O-U-N-T-Y. County means district. The term county is the same as district. So this is a district level road, Clark County Road 215, and it says 215 north. And let me go to this. Then you will likely see IR. So I pulled up everything that has IR. So you see IR 15, that is interstate route. So hey, those of you who are 3 who came last, join with her. Sit in a row by yourself. Thank you for welcoming him, Ishita. So IR is interstate, 15 is interstate 15, and N means northbound. For many of these routes, interstate particularly or state roads, you will see N, S, E or W. What it means is the direction of travel. Interstate 15, N means traveling northbound, IR 15S means traveling southbound. There is a difference. All the interstate roads are divided roadways. The carriageway is separated either by some median or ditch or at least some barrier. So if you have W or E, for example, IR 80W means interstate route 80, and W is travel direction is westbound. Does anybody have any questions on this terminology? I swear, okay, those of you online, you may lower your hand, the hand that you raised. That was early on for me to understand whether or not you have access to the data. Does anybody have any questions online? Please stop me, because if you don't understand the data, you won't be able to work on the tutorial. Can you lower the temperature, please? Is anybody else feeling it warm? Thank you. I think I covered. If you have any questions about nomenclature of the road names, the direction is very important. IR 5 is different, IR 15 south is different from IR 15 north, because they are two different directions of travel. The next one is road paddle marker. The road paddle marker is basically the sign alongside the roadway that says this is milepost 11, milepost 12, milepost 13. It's usually a rectangular sign that is typically located on the right side of the road, because we travel on the right side of the road, on the slower side, on the shoulder side of the road. So here what it says is, was there a marker, or if there was a marker, where is it? So many of these on the routes, you see there was no marker. So what the police officer is doing is, when they enter the report, the digital version of the map already automatically says you are on milepost 11 or milepost 34. It picks it up. But here what it says is, if you have a marker, where is it? On the right side, on the left side, or both sides? The next is intersection. Is it at an intersection or not at an intersection? Next, is there parking lot? So on the data set, because I have these filters, you may not see the whole thing. When you click on the cell, please take a look at the formula bar up at the top. I don't know how you have set up your Excel files. You'll see the full field name. I've shrunk the columns just to be more efficient. So is this in a parking lot, adjacent to a parking lot? For the most part, I would expect to find no for the parking lot. The reason is, in Nevada, if there is a crash that occurs in a private property, a parking lot is usually a private property, then it is not part of the state record. That's a private issue. So here the parking lot is likely going to be no everywhere. Distant landmark approximation. So let me just pick yes to see what that is. It is usually yes or no. Is there a landmark, and then what is the landmark distance from the landmark? What is the mark located? So this is in miles, 1/2 a mile. The distance is 2,640 feet. 1 mile is 5,280 feet. So these are two ways of referring to the same thing. But it's interesting that you see that landmark distance here says 500 and the next one says 500. So pay attention to the units, and the column O refers to the data in column M. So this is 0.5 miles, which is 2,640 feet. क्या हुआ? Should I come check it? No, hit better. Updating, okay. So here are things that are common to the landmark, and depending on what analysis you want to do, some of these fields may be relevant, some of these fields may be not of use for that particular analysis. These fields are there for a purpose. This is based upon the model minimum, remember MUC, minimum model uniform crash criteria. So, these are all the fields that you will find. Then the distance, so here the column M and N and O relate to, is there a landmark and how far away and what direction, is it south of it, north of it, east of it, west of it. There is no point just saying it is 500 feet from the landmark, you need to know which direction. Huh? So, that is the next column, and so here this is a duplicative column. You will see distance from landmark or direction south versus S, and in some cases east and east, not E. Excuse me. So, you need to use your judgment to figure out, to resolve any what might be seeming inconsistency. If you think about it, it is not an inconsistency, it is just a different way of coding. They have used multiple ways to code it. So, the next column is crash date. So, the crash date, please keep in mind, in the United States the date is written in month, day, year format. So, 3/17/2022, right. You can't have a 17th month. The way you write it in India, 3/17 may mean 3rd of the 17th month. No, it is the 3rd month, 17th day. So, please keep that in mind when you are doing analysis by date. And ignore the 00, all of these you will see have been coded with 1200. That is just the raw data we got and we are leaving it at that. However, you will see there are other details. Crash time. So, crash time 2041 means it is on a 24-hour clock. 2041 is 8 p.m. 41 minutes, that is the way you interpret it. And if I go further down here, you will see 6:15, that is 6 a.m. and 15 minutes past 6 a.m. Questions? All right. The next is date notified. The crash occurred on, let me pick March 17th, so that this I minimize confusion. March 17th, the crash occurred at 15:17. The time they notified was 15:17. So, almost immediately, one way or the other, whether it was through cameras, through detectors, or somebody calling on a mobile phone saying there is a crash, it was reported within a minute of when the crash occurred. So, notified time, notified date, notified time. Date arrived, when did the responder arrive? Date is again 3/17. When did they arrive? 15:15. So, the crash occurred at 15:17, the responder arrived at 15:55. So, that was 42 minutes, that is a long time. In urbanized, I do not know where this crash took place, but in urbanized areas I expect that to be much shorter, less than 5 to 10 minutes. So, the next field is road intersection type. If it was a road, you can see it was more than 4 ways of 5, 6 approaches coming into the intersection, typically at a roundabout. 4-way, other, one I do not know what one is. Blank means it is just on a corridor, no intersection was involved. Road intersection type other, that field is going to be blank. So, you can ignore that. I am just the 300 records that we picked out did not have that field. Was there an office report on this? Yes or no? When was the report filed? So, where was I? the crash took place 2:20, so the report was filed on 2:20, same day. Oops. So the report was complete. When was the report filed? Report completed. Which is the police department that handled the report? So you will see there are just Las Vegas Metro PD is the Las Vegas Metropolitan Area Police Department that covers the city of Las Vegas and Clark County, as I mentioned in one of the maps I showed you. If it is Henderson PD, it is a police department for the city of Henderson. North Las Vegas PD is the North Las Vegas. Highway Patrol is a state police agency, not for any of the municipalities or the district. The next one is location. Location is typically going to be, is it within a city boundary or is it in outside of city boundaries, that is between towns and towns, which is a county. I am going to say, is the AC on here yet, ma'am? Is the AC on yet? Cooler please. और ठंडा करना है. Oh, thank you. If I start overheating, you can see radiation coming out here. Okay. Ball bhi nahi hai to cover it up. Thank you. So the location is basically whether it was within a city boundary or outside a city boundary. You're hot there too. So इस तरफ भी कर देना. वो बीच में है ना, बीच वाले को. वो भी ऑन कर देना. Thank you. Yes, now I see that working. Thank you. Jyoti, we were just trying to get the room to the correct temperature for you. So that's what this field is the location. Is it located within a city jurisdiction or not? And outside town, in this case you are seeing for the most part it is no, because it is it's outside an urbanized area or not, even though it may be in a county. Remember the map I showed you, the Las Vegas metro area has 3 cities, but there are many parts that are not in a part of a city, but it is still urbanized. Then if there is a city involved, which is the city? And typically if there is a crash that occurred in Las Vegas, the police agency that will respond to that is going to be the Las Vegas police. Occasionally you may have some other police department. For example, if there is some motorist who is doing a speeding violation that started in one city and the police officer is chasing that person and they go into another city, the police officer won't stop at the city line, they will continue, and whenever they catch them they will issue the challan, the citation. Okay. So most of the time you will see the city and the police department will be the same agency. The other exception is the state highway patrol. The state highway patrol can go anywhere in the state, but they typically monitor the state routes and the interstate routes, the higher functional classes. So where did the crash occur? Clark County. Many you will see Clark County. Washoe County is where I remember on the map I showed you Reno, where we have about 500,000 population, 5 lakh. And let me see which counties I have in here. Yeah, I have many counties that are populated in here. County located, it's a replication of them. beat is each police station may have different zones that they cover. So, which is the section that they are, beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, so on. So, it is just a description, and it is important when, remember the judicial caseload we talked about, some courts have much higher thing. So, if the beat, if one beat has many more of a certain type of crashes, maybe they need more help there, or another beat has far lesser, or this beat always has a higher problem on Friday evenings and Saturday evenings, whereas other beats have problems on Monday and Tuesday. So, now you can allocate resources, where do you want to concentrate your resource allocation. So, there are many ways you can interpret the data on that. So, the next question is, next field is property damage, yes or no. You are asking a question, was there a property damage or not, it will be coded. Okay. In this case you could have a crash where you had a fatal injury, you had a A or B or C type injury and property damage. Property damage description, it is blank all over. So, in this particular example you can skip that. Was the private property involved, oh sorry, was it in a school zone, yes or no. So, you can see, and in a school zone there are interesting things for you need to look at. You do not know exactly when the school starts, because you are here, you do not know. School times are usually going to be from about 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. students are coming to school, and between 3 p.m. and 4 p.m. they are going away from school. But if you have a crash that occurs at 10 p.m. in a school zone, it may not. What is happening? Okay. So, if a speeding event occurs at 10 p.m., it is unlikely that school children are going to be present, whereas you see repeated speeding between 8:30 a.m. and 9 a.m. when children are coming to school, that is an issue. So, you need to be able to differentiate not only that what the problem is, but when is the problem and if it is in a school zone, and was a private property involved. If I would expect to find all no here, because if it is on private property I should not find that here. Traffic control, it is all blank here. What was the weather? Remember, in many of the examples that Professor Maurya talked about, Dr. Bhardwaj talked about earlier in terms of other environmental factors. So, most of it you will see clear, but rain clear, and you will also find in some places there could be snow, fog, smoke. So, I am glad my student picked several different records that have different variables here. Then weather other, you are going to find that is to be blank. Road surface, you are going to find most of these will be on paved roads. I do not know if I have unpaved road. Yeah, it is asphalt, 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 concrete. There are a few roads that are concrete. So, as Professor Dr. Bhardwaj said this morning, roadway factors, is there a difference between outcomes on asphalt roads versus concrete roads? That may be a question that you are trying to answer. So, that is one of the road surface other. I am going to hide that. Light conditions. So, dark other, daylight, it was dark, but we had continuous lighting. So, that is what this continuous roadway lighting indicates. So, this was a street where you had street light on even though it was at night. The crash occurred during hours of darkness, but the street was lit. Here is a intermittent lighting, meaning that it was not continuous street lights. Oops. You had lighting at some points, you didn't have lighting at other points. Here is the crash type. Remember the Capco that we talked about? So column AW says what type of a crash it was. So it was a fatal, so the crash severity code is K. Injury, you will find injury could have different A, B, C, but the column AW only says it's injury. Oh, in this case, I'm sorry, I asked Sushma just to focus on K and A type crashes. In the data you will not find BCO. Just for simplicity we eliminated BCO. I thought we had a different file, but this is what I will go with. The next field is the crash type. I gave you examples, summary examples. In rural areas it was single vehicle run off the road crash. In urban areas we had angle collisions, we had rear end collisions. There are many different types of collisions, so that is what the crash type field says. So you can see there are angle, head on, it was non collision, rear end, side swipe overtaking. Side swipe meeting in the sense you are going in opposite directions and side swiping. Side swipe overtaking is your both the vehicles are going in the same direction, but then you scrape one another. Initial area of impact, and at this time for your analysis here I would say do not worry too much about this particular. Location, first event. Did it occur on the carriageway in a travel lane or outside the travel lane? For example, here you see one was on the outside shoulder. The vehicle may have ran off the road and hit a guardrail, so that occurred on the outside shoulder. That is just an example. Location of first event, other. Here was, it looks like this was pedestrian related. It occurred at a marked crosswalk or zebra crossing as you call. So curb, marked crosswalk, private drive, sidewalk, and most of it are blank. First harmful event. Motor vehicle in transport means the vehicle was traveling. Ran off the road, right, as the term indicates the vehicle was traveling. For us, ran off the road right means it's on the shoulder. For you it is the fast side, right, just the opposite. And hit a tree or a shrub. So there are, that's what the first harmful. The next one, I think in the data that we showed, hit and run was a big factor in India. So the question here is, was that a hit and run? And you can see there are a few hit and run. The next column is, was there alcohol involved? Yes or no? And I don't think we have unknown in this. Yeah, it is either yes or no. Pedestrian involved? Pretty simple, yes or no. Motorcycle involved? That is column BG. The next one is number of vehicles that were involved in the crash. So if I look at the record number 2, row 2, it says that there were 3 vehicles involved. Here there were 2 vehicles involved, so on and so forth. So this column basically tells you how many vehicles were involved. We have up to 4 vehicles in the data that. Yeah. The next is number of non-motorists involved. So if a pedestrian were involved, that's a non-motorist, right? So that's what that means. The next is the number of occupants. How many people were occupying the vehicles involved in the crash? So here you see there were 4 occupants. Will somebody make a note of this for me, please? Or, for crash, the record number 2, the crash number is starts with LVM, ends with 6969. Please make a note because I want to refer to that in several minutes. Crash number L starts with LVM, ends with 6969. The number of vehicles involved was 3, number of occupants involved was 4. The next column is number of fatalities. Here we had 4 occupants, 1 fatality. The next column is number of injuries. There were 3 injuries. So 4 occupants, 1 was killed, 3 were injured. The next one is, the field is number restrained. How many of the occupants were using appropriate restraints, seat belts? Or if you have children in the US, we require children under certain ages and certain weights to be in a certain type of a child safety seat. Once they get a little older, they can be in a booster seat, but until they reach a certain height and certain weight, they must be in a child seat or a booster seat. Even child seat for infants and toddlers under 2 years of age, or up to when they get to 30 pounds, it has to be rear facing. The child cannot be facing forward, the seat cannot be, child safety seat cannot be facing forward. So restraint used, that is what it means. If there was a child, was the child in an appropriate child safety seat? If these were adults, were they wearing seat belts? First location of first event turn. So the fields, the values here are L1, L2, R1. I will let you just use that to your judgment to see how you want to evaluate that. What was the event? Location of first travel event. Lane 1, lane 2, lane 3, so on. Fastest lane is lane 1, the next lane is lane 2, and you can see some examples that say center line. The next, is road environmental factor. None, it was a good road. Wow, here it says worn traffic surface. That means the road is smoother than it should have been. The surface has been abraded, has been worn out. Here is a different way of road environmental factors, is backup due to congestion. It is not the road surface itself. Traffic was, there was a traffic jam and it was congested. Road environmental factors, it is blank, so I am going to skip that. Road environmental factors, the other is also going to be blank. Oh, chip seal. Here there was a project that was going on underway, so there was just one of the 300. Some project was going on, but that's a very small part of this. Route ID. This is something that the government agencies who own or maintain the road have, instead of the common name, they have a specific name for the route ID. So I do not know how valuable it will be for your analysis, but it is just there, that is coded. Measure. It is some unit of measure all along the route. It could be a mile post, kilometer post, post located. So in this particular case, I am going to suggest that you do not worry about the measure or post located. Was there a secondary collision? There are some crashes that occur, and in this case we do not have any of our crashes that led to a secondary crash. Oops. Column B, W and Bx are latitude and longitude, but this is not latitude and longitude, x and y in a mapping coordinate system that the state DOT uses. Any questions on what we have in this data set? So this basically describes what, when the crash ID, the date when the crash occurred, the time when the crash occurred, where did the crash occur, the roadway and some reference, the response times, and the latitude and longitude will help us, or the XY coordinates pinpointed. It also has information on the number of vehicles and number of people. For the crash, I asked you to write down we had 3 vehicles and 4 people, right. So, keep that. So, this is the first tab in the data set. So, now I am going to go to the I'll move it over, the vehicle tab. So, in this sheet we have a lot more detail about the vehicles involved in the crash. So, what is common is the crash ID. I asked you to write down the crash number, na? So, the crash number was the start with LVM, ends with 6969. I just filtered that one particular crash, and now you can see there are 3 vehicles. Remember we said 3 vehicles. So, I just want to, and then I am going to go to the person table just for a minute, and for the same crash, remember we had 4 people. So, here are 4 records that correspond to the 4 people. 1 was a passenger and 3 were drivers, 3 vehicles. So, you should have 3 drivers. Maybe if the person was not injured, it will not show up here. So, I wanted to make sure you understand that the first table we saw about crash is related to the other 2 tables. Now, I am going to go back to the vehicle table and let us work our way through. I am not showing you all the 300, let me do that just in case. So, vehicle number. So, each vehicle that was involved in a crash is given an identifier 1, 2, 3, or in this case 7, 3, whatever it is. So, if you have 3 vehicles, you will have 3 numbers. So, all the vehicles involved in the crash will have a vehicle number. So, unit number is in this particular crash how many vehicles were in, no, the type. So, 3 is a moped, 1 is a pickup truck, 3 is a hatchback, so on. So, I would focus on the vehicle type. It tells you what type of vehicle it is. Are you familiar with the term pickup truck? Okay, good. A sedan is simply a car, 4-door, 2-door, motorcycle, so on. And was a bus involved? Yes or no? The tag state is what is the state of where the vehicle was registered. For the most part, you will see NV is Nevada, but you see here OK, Oklahoma, it is a different state, just like Assam, West Bengal, Tripura, so on and so forth. Is Tripura a state? No. Yeah. Meghalaya, so on and so forth. The next column is the year the vehicle was manufactured. Remember, you will have 1 row for each vehicle. So, the year the vehicle was manufactured. This goes back to the technologies. Somebody asked if we have newer vehicles, what happens to the vehicle scrappage policy. So, you can see how old the vehicles were. So, some are very new, 2002, then you see a 2003 vehicle in a crash in 2022. So, that is almost 20-year-old vehicle. The next is the make of the vehicle. Next is model. So, the same manufacturer may have different models of the vehicle. Style, I think that should be blank. Was it transporting hazmat, hazardous materials? Yes or no? Or I think you will find blanks. There is no yes. So, the data that I have included here does not have any vehicle that has transporting hazardous materials, because if there were a vehicle that were transporting a hazardous material involved in a crash, the response is going to be very different. You will have the first responders, but then you need to have responders who are capable of handling the hazardous material containing So if a hazardous material was involved, was it released? In this case it is no. I don't know what the hold field is. I don't remember. I'm sorry. So ignore the involvement and contact, and the next column is what was the non-motor the action of the vehicle. Was it stopped, going straight, turning left, straight, so on and so forth? Was there any other action involved in the vehicle? Here we have two: passing moving bus, rider ejected. So let me just pick on rider ejected to see how many. It's usually motorcycle will have rider ejected. Where did the crash occur? Street name, direction of travel, which lane did it occur? Lane 1 is the fastest lane, lane 2 is a lane adjacent to it, and so on. Is it in a commercial area or not? Was it hauling a trailer? In the US it is not uncommon for cars or pickup trucks to have a small trailer that they transport attached to the vehicle. And if you have a trailer, the number of trailers and descriptions of these trailers and whether they had hazmat. The subsequent fields I am going to have you skip until the field AL. AL is hit and run. Was that a hit and run crash? The next is what are the factors related to the crash related. So in this case, failed to yield right of way. ROW is right of way, and disregard for control device. So it goes hand in hand. Somebody ran a red light and failed to yield the right of way. Then are there any mechanical factors involved? So you can see there is an example of lights, headlight or signal light or tail light was not working. So somebody asked Dr. Nibjyoti, I think earlier today, in terms of mechanical readiness of the vehicle. So this is an example where a vehicle didn't have its lights working. Are there other factors? So what was the damage? Description of the damage: front left bumper, right side, so on and so forth. Was magnitude of the damage minor, major, moderate, unknown? Damage, was it existing? How much distance after impact did the vehicle travel? And sometimes you do have that. Or what are the inches? No, feet. How many feet? Speed, estimated the low end of the speed that the vehicle was traveling at the time of the crash. Estimated speed high, what was the high end? What was the posted speed limit? So here you can see the speed limit was 45 miles an hour. The police officer estimated the speed to be, travel speed to be 65 miles an hour. What was the damage area? Other damage, traffic control. Was a permissive green. Remember I told you one of the projects that I'm working on is looking at the safety at permissive green. Traffic control, turn signal, school zone, so on. I'm going to not worry about these. And then comes whether it was a motor vehicle, pedestrian, pedal cyclist is a bicyclist. There, if you hear the term bike in the US, it's a bicycle, it's not a motorcycle. Okay. Pedal cycle or bike or bicycle is a bicyclist. If it is a motorcycle, it will be explicitly written as motorcycle, not a bike. So what were the sequences of action? the motor vehicle was moving straight, then it slowed or stopped. Vehicle moving straight, it overturned or rolled over. And if there are multiple such descriptors, but you got to think from the first part of the fields were some of the more critical ones in terms of the people involved, the vehicles involved, and the characteristic of the vehicle. Now let me go to the person table. So you see we go all the way to CG. So that is close to about 85 descriptive fields for you. Doesn't mean that every field is populated. So you have an identifier for the person, vehicle related, what is a person's role, passenger, driver, rider, which vehicle, remember there could be multiple vehicles involved, what is the age of the individual, whether they were the driver or the passenger, sex, male, female, race, that is important there. In India I do not see that recorded often. There we have Hispanic, non-Hispanic, white, Asian, Hawaiian, Pacific Islander, so on. Was this person a driver or a passenger? I would be surprised if you see passenger here and driver saying yes. You can't have that conflicting, right? So that's a simple check to see. Was the person the vehicle owner? What is a driver license class? A C class is a usual driver's license that we use to drive four-wheelers. Motorcycles have a different license. If you are driving a commercial vehicle, it would say CDL. Let me see if I can find driver's license. Yeah, CM, commercial motor vehicle. We do not have CL, but we have CDL, driver license class. CM is a commercial vehicle. Oh, it says driver's license commercial, no. So let me see where I have a yes for this. Yeah, class A is a commercial vehicle, class B is commercial vehicle. Class C, I am not sure why they have it as a commercial. A and B are the commercial, so I see a discrepancy right here, but I cannot verify. Maybe that person had multiple licenses, because a commercial driver could also have a regular car driving. When they are driving the truck, they are driving the truck. So I do not know why it is coded differently. The next few are interesting. Driver's license status. Is it a valid license or normal with some limitations, with restrictions? No valid driver's license. Suspended driver's license. So one of the analysis I did with a former student was to look at the status of the driver's license of people involved in crashes, and whether in state or out of state. That in state meaning a crash occurred in Assam, the driver's license was issued by Assam. Out of state is crash occurred in Assam, but the driver's license was issued by another state. And then the next part of it, was that valid, was that suspended, was that revoked, so on. Person factors. Here what you see is drinking or apparently normal, drug involvement, driver or drug involvement. What is this? Driver, come on, driver inattention or distracted. Is there another factor here? I don't think so. What are secondary factors? You can see animals involved, cell phone, external distractions outside the vehicle. There's something going on there, I'm looking there, boom. You have other fields, alcohol or drug involved, yes or no, and alcohol, drugs, none, or if it is blank, it means that it's not. Suspected impairment. There, if the police officer feels that the operator of the vehicle may be impaired under the influence of drugs or alcohol, they can do what is called a field sobriety test. Do you have field sobriety tests here where the police officer may ask you to follow a light or walk in a straight line?
They use the breathalyzer.
Breathalyzer, yeah. So there are some legal things. For you to use a breathalyzer, they have to establish a probable cause that we did a field sobriety test, the person failed the field sobriety test, now we can do the breathalyzer, we can do the blood. So but then the person has to agree. If the person says no, I will not submit to a breathalyzer, or then they will be taken into custody. Here, is it required that the person needs?
No, they straight away go for the breathalyzer.
Okay, but what if the driver says I won't submit to a breathalyzer test?
It's kind of a mandate, I think.
Okay.
So they can force people to take it.
Okay. So then drug specimen, how did they do it? Field sobriety test, driver admission, or did a blood test? So there are,
This cannot be done, I think.
yes. So there too, I think for a blood test you need to have a follow up. The police officer doesn't carry the. So the specimens, what are the drug specimens? What were the results of the drug test? Oh, it's blank, I'm not sure why. Drug test, field sobriety, urine and blood test. So these are afterwards. The other parts, now what you'll see for the person table, airbag. Was the airbag deployed, appropriate airbags deployed? And you know the vehicles have a switch to turn on or off the airbags. Did they use a restraint? Seat belt? And some of the older vehicles have seat belts, only lap belt. They don't have the over the shoulder harness. So you can see what was used. Helmet, I guess it is for motorcycle users. Ejected or trapped. Ejected means they were just thrown off the vehicle. Trapped, there are some crashes where the occupants are trapped inside the vehicle and you have to use mechanical extrication devices. They cut open the side of the vehicle or the front of the vehicle, or even you cannot, whatever tools that they need to free the occupant. You will see there are a few examples. Then for each person you have where were they seated. First row, right side. Remember in the US the driver is on the left seat. So this was the passenger on the first row. First row right side, second row. You will see the various positions. Injury code. So the crashes that I showed you in the first I picked only A and K type crashes. However, even though you had a K type crash, there could be other people who have A, B, C or O type injury outcomes. So that's why you will see B, C or O outcomes here. Injury location, what part of the body? There's a totally different way. I'm not going to get into this. There is a MAIS scale, maximum abbreviated injury scale, and injury severity scale that comes up with scores based upon what part of the body, head, neck, thorax, lower abdomen, arms, legs, so on and so forth. So you may just want to refer to this as scores. I don't have the data. I'll try to find the data dictionary to tell you what field 1 means or 2 means, but that is just to identify where all the injuries occurred. If there was a death, what was the date of the death? In this case I don't think I have. It's all 0, so they blanked out some of these. Technically a crash fatality, a fatality is associated with a crash if one of those involved in the crash died within 30 days. If the person died on day 31 after the crash, or day 32 or day 90, that's not counted as a fatality. Unfortunately, there are some people who are injured who may die after 30 days, but that's not counted as a fatality. Across the US, that's one of the standards. Time of death, unfortunately we don't have detail. Hit and run person, non-motorized vehicle, direction of travel if it is. I'm going to skip these. I've already spent an hour giving you the overview. So the other thing I wanted to show to you is how many crashes did I say I have, statewide crash data here? 300, right? If I go to the vehicle table, I have 498. Is that reasonable? Why is it? Why do I have 498 vehicles but only 300 crashes?
If there is one crash, there may be two vehicles.
Exactly. So you could have crashes where you have more than one vehicle. And likewise, when I go to the person table, I should have at least as many persons as there are vehicles, right? And we have 717. So what I'd like you to do is save the data file, but make a copy for your analysis, or do your analysis in a different sheet on the same file. Write a hypothesis or a question that you want to answer. I want you to write it as a team. You discuss and say, based on all the data that you have seen here, what analysis do you want to do? And is there a sub-level analysis that you want to do? So major question, minor questions. How are you going to do the analysis? What data fields do you need from this? And do the analysis. Focus first for the first. So the time is 4:10. Do we have a break now, Nibjyoti? 5-minute break. We can take a 5-minute break. I see it's continuous. So now it is time is 3:55. So let's take a 5-minute break.
So, 4 actually we can have tea.
Oh, T is going to be there?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll let you work for 5. Just work on the first sheet, which is the vehicle statewide crash data. That's all I want you to use for the first part of the analysis, using the data on the statewide crash data. What analysis would you like to do? So I see 4 people in the last row. Split yourselves into 2 teams of 2. मैम साहब पार्टनर्स के साथ काम कीजिए.
Yes, sir. But we have discussed it. Just I'm
पूरा
writing
हुआ?
the
हो?
points.
Finished? तो ये ख़त्म हुआ तो दूसरा स्टार्ट कीजिए. स्टार्ट अ सेकंड वन इफ यू फिनिश्ड वन. No, 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 no. So on the same sheet, do another analysis. If you did one analysis, if
Sir,
it,
we
if
have to give the what analysis can be done, or we have to.
you have to do the analysis. What is the question that you asked, and how did you answer it?
Okay, we have to do the analysis.
Yes. Just to be clear, you have to define what question you're asking and how are you answering it. So I need an answer, not just the question.
Sir, what we
Samajh
are trying
gaye?
to do is that, sir, first of all, we are trying to find in which direction how many number of crashes are happening. That
Okay.
is one. Another thing is we are trying to find in an hour how many accidents are happening, means number of crashes.
Crashes.
Yeah.
हाथ दिखाइए. ऐसा दिखाना. Accident नहीं, crash.
Yes, sir. Yes. Okay, sir.
Sir, we have taken, is there a reasonable time or police response after the crash notification?
Okay, and you're doing it by hand?
Yes, sir, because we have about the formula to calculate.
Okay, because Excel can help you do that very easily. Okay, okay.
We have to then manually check it.
Yeah.
Actually, we have to minus all these things.
Minus?
Minus this field and this field.
Yeah, simple. एक और field कर देना. Just insert column.
Yes, sir, I know these things, sir.
Hmm.
But here some problem will occur. That's why, sir, I am not taking, because it is in minute. We have to
Yeah.
take it is in minute or hour.
Yeah, minute is okay. So this is I will let you work on it, but there are easy ways that Excel will allow you to do it. Okay, people, time up. It's 4:35. I've given you time till 4:35. So what I'd like to do is, how many teams online? Do we have all 5 WhatsApp teams? WhatsApp team 1, if you're present, just say yes. WhatsApp team 1, are you present? WhatsApp team 2?
Yes, sir.
Or WhatsApp team 1? Tazim?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Tazim is WhatsApp 1. Ashwini, are you 2?
Yes, I'm there.
Okay. WhatsApp team 3? WhatsApp 3?
I'm here, sir.
Thank you. Shruti, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. WhatsApp 4? Nobody from WhatsApp 4? WhatsApp 5?
Shruti and
Okay. WhatsApp.
Shruti and Pratyush.
You're 4 or 3?
Four. Shruti and Pratyush 4.
4. Okay. WhatsApp 5?
Sir, Aishwarya.
Okay. So we've got everybody there. And here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams. So we have 11 teams. I'm going to give each team 2 minutes to summarize the 3 things I want you to do in 2 minutes, and I will hold you to 2 minutes, and when it is 2 minutes I'll say stop, even if you have not finished your presentation. Okay, so 2 minutes. What was the question you tried to answer? How did you answer it? What data did you use to answer it? What did you find? Okay. Any questions? All right, so I'm starting timer. The group in the back of this room, start now. So you got 2 minutes, you understood the ground rules. 3, 2, 1, turn on your microphone. 3, 2, 1, and start. You're already 10 seconds lost. Mic is not working, I will restart. Get a mic that works. Next team, make sure you have a mic that works.
Surya, I'm representing this group.
Start.
Sir, I am Surya. Sir, we are checking in different lighting conditions if the fatalities and injury proportion changes.
Okay.
And we are especially checking in the night condition, that is dark.
Okay, stop for a minute. I'm going to ask the other teams questions based upon this presentation, so you should pay attention. Okay, don't just work on your thing. Go ahead. I'll give you 10 seconds extra.
Okay. And in the dark, when there is continuous roadway lighting, the fatality to injury ratio is less than half. The fatalities is lesser than half of the injuries. But when there is no lighting, roadway lighting, fatalities is more than injuries. So the roadway lighting is very important criteria that reduces the fatalities.
Excellent. Is that the only question you answered?
Another one, we have checked the alcohol inclusion against fatality and injury. There was no statistical difference we could find that correlates the fatalities with the alcohol.
Alcohol and pedestrian.
Fatalities.
Oh, all fatalities, not
Yes,
just
sir.
pedestrian fatalities.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else?
So, and road surface type versus fatalities. We
Okay.
have, sir. And in that, if there is the road is concrete type, the fatalities are more, and if the road surface is asphalt, fatalities are lesser.
Okay, good. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay, excellent. So you did several things. Just for the last one, one reason, possible reason maybe that the interstate highways in Nevada are concrete. There are very few smaller roads or lower functional class roads that are concrete. So maybe that the speeds are much higher. So one other analysis, remember you have speeds too, would have been add speed also. But very good work, thank you. So WhatsApp group 5, you have 2 minutes.
Okay, hello sir. Sir, do we have to share the Excel sheet?
No, you just speak about it. Tomorrow I will make sure you have an opportunity to share your screen. Just speak to your work.
So here we did the analysis on to determine the hypothesis was the reduction in fatality rate if the crashes were covered in the golden hour, if the response time was within the golden hour, and it the result it shows that nearly 40 from the data we got that the percentage of accident or the crashes which is addressed after the golden hour is 25%, making it 76 numbers, and among them 48.7% are fatal accidents and 51.3% are injuries, and also it account to 12 to 13% of the total accidents in the entire set of data.
Okay, anything? Go ahead.
If the response in improved, like nearly 10, 12 to 13% of the fatality can be reduced.
Okay, so what is your main finding then?
So this is what we did.
What is your, in one sentence, what is your main finding? If the response time is less than 60 minutes, is it better or worse than if it is greater than 60 minutes, outcomes?
So it's better to communicate faster and arrive faster.
Okay, all right. Do you want to add anything else, Aishwarya?
No, sir.
Okay, good work. Thank you. So one thing I would recommend for you to do is, it was not clear to me from your presentation whether if the response was less than 60 minutes, there were fewer fatalities compared to if the response was greater than 60 minutes.
Sir, the fatality is nearly 50% when the response or the arrival time is less than 60 seconds.
60 seconds or 60 minutes? 60 minutes.
60 seconds, 1 hour, sir.
Okay, and what if the response time is greater than 60 minutes?
Maybe the injuries can shift to fatality. More kill will be there.
Okay, thank you. All right, here the group in the far corner, get a microphone and tell me when you're ready. I'll start the clock. Make sure it works.
Yes.
Okay, start.
Sir, we have analyzed the different crashes which are the near.
Louder.
Okay. We have analyzed the crashes that is happening near the intersection, or the accidents are at the mid block or the intersection. So we have analyzed all the data, and we found that out of these 35% crashes are happening near the intersection only, and remain 65% are near the mid block. And also we have checked about the pedestrian condition also. So 25% in out of in this data, 25% crashes pedestrian has involved. So it can be taken as the one of the major issues for the pedestrian also.
Okay, 25% of all crashes or 25% of
All.
the crashes at the intersection?
All crashes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you want to add anything else?
And I've also, that's it for, sir.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, WhatsApp group 4. Are you ready?
Yeah. Hello, sir.
Yes?
Yeah, so the hypothesis that we tried to analyze was basically we tried to correlate, like we tried to understand the crash severity, that is fatal crashes or injury-based crashes, and how are they affected by lightning conditions on the road or the collision type or the weather and road conditions. It was a rough, it was a basic descriptive analysis which we conducted, and what we observed was that a significant portion of the fatal crashes were occurring during the dark conditions, and there was a good chunk which was happening during the daylight also. So there was not a very good association with respect to that. And then with respect to collision type, non-collision and angle collision. So basically when there were whenever there were not two vehicles involved, and there were angle collisions which were occurring the most, and they were the most prevalent during fatal crashes. And third was clear weather and asphalt surfaces. They do not eliminate severe accidents. Like during clear weather also the accident was happening, which might be attributed to some other factors like overspeeding or some other factors. So weather condition wasn't showing that big effect on the type of crashes.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. So are you able to turn on your camera? Would you turn on your camera please for 10 seconds? Okay.
Yes, sir.
हाथ दिखाना ऐसे, हाँ, 3 थप्पड़, क्यों? You know why? Crash है, accident नहीं.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
That's okay. I want you to get in the habit of saying crash, not accident. So I'm a little surprised that you can turn off the camera. I'm a little surprised at your first conclusion that seemed to be contrary to an earlier group's. So again, there may be vagrants, discrepancies in what data you analyze, but that seems to be a little contradictory. All right, so now let's go to the team up front here. Ready?
Yes.
Okay, chalo.
Sir, I am Rahul Narayan, sir. By my side, Sanatan Das is there. Sir, my hypothesis was that, null hypothesis, is there a 20% reasonable police response under bracket half of the golden hour after the crash notification? In the data set, we find that the crash response of the policeman are more than 30%. After the golden hour, half of the golden hour. We are taking half of the golden hours.
30 minutes.
30 minutes. So we can improve the emergency medical services, because when the police will come, we can give at that time only the first aid.
Okay. So
And we will decrease the time, so they will get EMS most rigorously.
Okay.
So we can save more lives.
Okay, so what was your finding in less than 30 minutes? What percentage of the response?
Sir, we have taken 20% reasonable police response.
20% were less than 30 minutes.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
Did anybody else do the police response? I thought no. All right. Thank you. So that was good.
Thank you, sir.
WhatsApp group 3.
Hello.
Yes, Tushar.
Yes, sir. As per the fatal accident, the hit and run cases, if the hit and run is yes, then its percentage goes to 10.37% as per the data. And if the hit and run cases is no, then the percentage goes to 89.63%.
If it is not hit and run, it is 89%.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So hit and run cases is 10.37% is a huge percent. So that's that's all.
That's all. Okay. That is a very simple analysis. So your results are a little intriguing to me. So if I was a layperson, not a transportation knowledgeable in transportation, what you said is I'm just going to use rough numbers. If there was hit and run, there were 11% fatalities. If there's no hit and run, there's 89% fatalities. So if I were a motorist, I look at the data. Don't stop, go, because the person won't die, right? No hit and run, 89% didn't die. Hit and run, only 89% died if the person waited. If hit and run, the person ran, then it's only 11%, right? Did I capture your analysis correctly, Tushar?
Yes, sir. Actually.
Okay, no, I'm just making an observation. So it is good that you are doing the analysis, but think about the implications of the results, and if you find that, what other types of analysis might you recommend that we do? So you may want to take into account other factors that are associated with hit and run.
Yes, sure.
Okay, thank you, Tushar. All right, here in the class, the second from the last.
So we try to do many things.
Speak up a little louder.
My name is Satyam. We try to do many things. First, we try to see how many crashes are at intersection and non-intersection. So 106 are at intersection, that is 35.3% of total, and intersection 194, which is 64.7 of total.
Okay.
Then we see crash by environmental factors, as there are many. So no specific, there are 250, which is 83.3% of. Then when it is wet or icy, there are 13 crashes, which is 4.3%. Then traffic congestion backup, that is 7 crashes, 2.3%. Then bone traffic surface, that is 1%. And then similarly, others are very less, 0.7, 0.7, 1.7, similar. Then we also saw crash severity, since there are only two, K and A. So K is 43.6%, while A is 56.3%. Then we did crash time analysis during peak hour. So when we saw the peak hour generally comes at 6 p.m., which is 34 crashes, which was the highest. And then one was at 2 p.m. and that was 24. So generally the peak was between 3 to 5, which was 22, and the lowest was at 3 a.m. that was 2. And we can say that between 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. we can have the lowest crash hour. And then similarly, we defined by now we have done by time. We now do it by month. So the highest crashes were in January, that was 108. Then in December 33, and then for February 49. And then in April and May we had the lowest crashes, and also in July and August, which was 3 and 4 and 11 and 9. So we sorted it by that way.
Okay, excellent. Exactly 2 minutes. Excellent job. But you did a lot of analysis compared to the other groups, and it's interesting. One thing I want you to take away is that I only gave you 300 records at a random sample, not necessarily a random sample. I had Sushma, my student, pick up some. So I don't know if it is representative enough to say, but some of the results you summarize saying between 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. are the highest number of crashes. Remember the heat map that I showed you? It correlates exactly with that, and you said between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. are the lowest. That too was reflected in the graphics that I had shown. I showed you 6 years worth of data. You're looking at a partial 300 out of 40,000 crashes, so that's a very small. So take it with a pinch of salt. I want you to learn more about the types of analysis that you can do. Don't take the results that you got to be definitive, because you don't have all the data. You only have a very, very small portion of the data. Satyam, do you understand that? Yeah, so your group needs, all of you need to do that. You are not looking at a whole year's data or many years of data. All right, so going to online WhatsApp group 2.
Yes, sir. I am Ashwini Gupta. Actually, my partner Kishore Krishna, I don't seem to find him in the group.
Okay.
So I have done on my own whatever little analysis that I could do.
Okay.
I will explain what I have done. I tried to find out how many crashes involved 3 or more vehicles.
Okay.
So which was a very simple statistics. I could find that there are 35 crashes involved with 3 or more vehicles. Then I wanted to understand that in how many crashes the speed limit exceeded 50% of the prescribed limit. I could not find an answer, but this was the one question which I wanted to answer, which the data was there in column S, but I could not do the analysis and find the answer. Then another question which I wanted to understand was that how many crashes occur during the peak hours, that is 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. That is normally the, although I have not, I have assumed that the peak might occur during these time intervals, and wanted to know how many crashes are there. Again, I could not find the answer to it. And lastly, what I wanted to understand was that in how many crashes within 10 minutes the police officer reported at the site. Again, I could not find the answer, but this was the question which I had in mind.
Okay.
That's all, sir.
Thank you very much. So you identified a lot of interesting questions, and I'm sorry that you had to work by yourself. I don't see Kishore online at this time. So I'm glad you were able to find at least one of the answers, but more importantly you identified which fields of data you would use to answer your questions. And as I told you, we will continue to work with this data set for other tutorials. So think about it. I don't want you to spend all your time between now and tomorrow when you come back just working on this. I know you all have lives to lead, homework, family, personal time, recreation, so on and so forth. But just think about it as to how might you leverage the data. So thank you very much, Ashwini. Here, which group? 2 groups are missing here, right? So I will go to the group to my left in the 3rd row. Ready? Make sure your microphone is ready.
Hello. Yeah.
Okay, chalo.
So first of all, we try to segregate in terms of hourly crashes. Means in which number of hour how many crashes are happening. So there we were able to find out that in the 19th hour there were most number of crashes, 34. And the second thing which we did, we tried to segregate it in terms of in which direction from the landmark those crashes are happening. And there we are able to see that most means a majority portion, more than 33, means majority in terms of all the directions. The highest one is
unknown. Okay. Please repeat that. I'll give you a few seconds.
So in order to segregate the direction from landmark, we were able to see that in the unknown or the blank portion, most of the collected data lies, and in the data where we have information, within them the east is having more portion, that is 18.6%. This is one question. And the second one was we tried to find out in which hour how many crashes are happening, and there we were able to see in the 19th hour it is having most number of crashes, and even we tried to plot hour versus crash, that plot, and we tried to find the trend in which the crashes are happening. Firstly, we were able to see that it is going in an increasing trend up to 19th hour, then it is having a decreasing trend up to 24th hour.
Okay, thank you. So you did some interesting analysis, but one of the things I would challenge you or do is the distance from the landmark or direction from landmark. How meaningful is it for you to come up with interventions? The landmark is only there in some cases, right? So from a data analysis, yes, that is, you can do the analysis. But in terms of doing something about safety outcomes, how would you use that result? Okay. So think about the analysis that you are trying to prioritize. If you have some time, what would you do? It is good analysis of the data that are available, but how meaningful or how relevant it is or how actionable that is, what does that mean? Okay. All right, so WhatsApp group, which one did I call last three? WhatsApp group 1. Anybody from group 1?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Tazim.
Tazim, go.
Sir, I did call upon my colleagues, but unfortunately, the response was nil. But I did quite a small analysis to the data, and the data, it was basically I found the high risk crash windows. I operated the Excel file in the Python programming, and I wrote down some a few line code, and I got the graphical observations between 3-hour moving averages as well as actual crash count. So moving averages was done to smoothen out the periods of crashes. Basically, there were fluctuations up and down in the graphs. So in order to determine consistency, or in order to have an authentic relationship, whether the peak periods are really peaks or not. So it showed me right from 15 to 21. That means 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the highest actual increase at the highest having crashes, and among that at the hour of 18th show the highest number. So I can show you the figure if you can allow me to share my screen.
Yeah, please save that, and tomorrow we will allow you to share the screen. During the tutorial session tomorrow, I will give you, all of you, any of you who want to share your screen, I will give you 2 minutes to display your results, okay? Tazim, anything else from your side?
So further, on the Excel sheet, I did the route type and the most, on which route type the crash counts were maximum. So upon the analysis, I found that interstate routes had the maximum number of crashes, and the leading to lowest at local roads, followed by county roads, state roads, and US highways.
Okay. Thank you. That's exactly 2 minutes. Thank you. So very good work. I am very happy to see you not only looked at the Excel sheet, but you tried to write some code in Python to examine what trends it is, and I liked your 3-hour moving average. But in this particular case, for the hourly variations, I am not as concerned about the 3-hour moving average, because in traffic engineering we typically will go by the hour. So what intrigued me from the previous group was you said at 1700 hours you found the maximum, right? That is 1900, which is 7 p.m. Another team had reported, I think, 6 p.m. This team, okay, 6 to 7, okay, then all of you are consistent. So, but I like what you're doing. In a practical sense, the 3-hour moving average is not necessarily the best use for the finding which is a peak hour. When you're looking at 300 data points, yes, maybe, but when we look at 40,000 data points in a year, 40,000 crashes, the 3-hour moving average may not be as relevant. Do you follow that, Tazim?
Yes, sir.
But if you're doing a long-term time series analysis and we want to smooth out variations across days, then we may want to do that. Let's say we have crashes over 365 days, and you may have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so on and so forth, or week 1 through week 52 for year 1, and we have 7 years of data, so we have 364 data points. So those are cases where I think some of the smoothing moving average over 3 observations might make sense. Okay, here there's one more team that needs to make their presentation. Ishita's team, okay.
So I am Ishita. So our findings are the weather condition mostly were clear during the crashes, that is 7%, out of which 37% during the daytime, and we found that Clark has the maximum fatal and injury combining both, and White Pine is the lowest in the case of crashes, and the angle collision were the maximum, that is 33%, and near intersection, that was the 30%, the crashes were happening, and during the 6 to 7 p.m. highest crashes were found out.
Okay.
That's it, sir.
Okay, so you took only 45 seconds. So you also, your analysis confirmed 6 to 7 p.m. that other teams did. So a few comments about your analysis. First of all, I'm glad that you worked with the data and you were able to uncover. My goal here is not to cover materials, okay, like cover portions. This is what it is. From my role, I see, is to help you uncover and discover what you can do on your own, just to feed you a few things, point you in the direction. So I'm very happy to do that. I'm excited that some of you looked at multiple ways of doing analysis. Some of you just focused on 1 or 2 and did a deeper dive on that. But one thing I would implore you to do is, most of you just did one variable at a time. I didn't ask you to do any modeling, but there are other ways that you can do multiple factors, multiple variables. Think about doing that when we meet again for your next tutorial. Has anybody used pivot tables or pivot charts before? Did you use that for today's analysis? No, I think
Yes, sir, I used that.
Yes, you did. Yeah, so that will help
Yes, sir.
you.
Yeah.
That will help you to now piece together multiple variables and think. I don't want you to do the analysis just because the data are there. I want to analyze this. Does that make sense for you to have some actionable recommendation, whether it is to a police officer, whether it is to a public works agency, whether it is to whoever it is? So think about that, or daytime versus nighttime, lighting versus no lighting, and lighting, no lighting, intersection versus non-intersection. Now those will help you identify, okay, at intersections where there is lighting that are not in urbanized areas, you have a higher proportion of fatal crashes versus where it was lit. Think about it strategically. So before you start doing your analysis, what purpose will it serve? So one thing I always say is think, think, think. Has any of you heard about a company by name IBM? You know, their tagline is think. So I have 2 notepads that IBM gives that say think. So I have that on my office desk. Just before I do anything, just pause and think what it means. So I encourage you strongly, don't just blindly go down a path. Think, what are you doing, what does it mean, what is its significance? And then communicating. I like the fact that one of you at least said, could we share our screen? I was checking with Dr. Bharadwaj, yes, we have the ability to share your screen, but since I did not offer it to all of you, I did not think it is fair to allow just one team to share the screen. So moving forward on all your tutorials, you will have the ability to share your screen. Okay, I will make sure we do that, but I'm going to stick to the 2-minute limit when you make your presentations. When you make the presentations, a few other recommendations I have is, once again, introduce yourself and introduce your teammates. I know a few of you worked on it by yourself because you didn't have teammates on the online WhatsApp groups. Did I miss any WhatsApp group? I think I went through all 5.
No, sir.
Okay, good. So introduce yourself and your teammates and give credit. It's always great to share credit. We did this as opposed to I did this. This was what you're doing is you're somebody who's representing the team. So our team did this. I'm the spokesperson for the team. So share credit. Okay, just like it makes other people feel that they made valuable contributions. Granted, on some teams you have some people who have more contributions and others have less. At another time the roles may change. So be sure to give credit to others on your team, and each time introduce yourself. Those you are sitting together because you know each other for the most part. You know who you are, who know who your teammates are. I don't know most of you. This is the second day that I'm meeting with you. I think I know most of you by name, but I'm still trying to make the name and face connection. There are people online. Get to know them too. Professor Bhardwaj, I'm going to try to wrap up now. Do you have any comments? Tomorrow, I think we are starting at 9:30, not 9 o'clock. Tomorrow's start will be delayed a little because I had another appointment come up on campus that I need to meet. Okay. You are welcome to come at 9 o'clock, work with the data that you have, or make productive use of the time. But there's no compulsion. But I would like to start very much at 9:30. Except I don't control my appointment. It's across campus. It's with the director of the institute. If his schedule runs late, I can't say I need to meet with you at 9 o'clock. I'm at his mercy. Okay, so if our appointment runs late, please bear with me. But be ready, those of you online and those of you in class, be ready for the session to start at 9 o'clock. Until then, have a good evening. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you all. Quick comment before we go. Was this a useful utilization of your time for this exercise? Because this is the style I want to continue for the other tutorials. If you say this is a waste of time, I need to figure out a different way to help you learn or help you use data. Was this meaningful? I will do an anonymous online survey. I don't want to put anybody on the spot. All right, people, thank you very much.